Okay, I think we can start. So we have 11 o'clock. To the ones who are already there, good to see you, or not to see you, but to know you are there. Today we have a special event, as we are focusing on bigger events, because we have one big event upcoming, right? The European Championship, which is right ahead of us. So the title of today's webinar is Leveraging Gamification for Increased Awareness Before and During Major Events. The idea would be that we have like a short presentation before where I talk about use cases and what things are important to consider in general when executing such a campaign during such events. And the second part would consist of a product demo, which will focus on hit the target today. So let's just start right away. So on the left side, this is me. To the ones who don't know me yet, I am Felix. I'm key account manager at Brame. I am responsible when it comes to every strategic question, when to set up which kind of game, for what purpose, for example, which flows make sense. So this is mainly my part at Brame. And we also have Nikola Jankovic here, who will take over the product demo, second half of this webinar. He is our lead designer at Brame and has massive experience with different campaigns and setting them up, and also consulting on game flows, for example. So the agenda for today and what you can look forward to is basically short introduction to the ones who don't know Brame yet. Then point 2, generally major event marketing in conjunction with gamification. Then looking at 2 use cases that I brought to that webinar here today. And then we have important points, do's and don'ts. And then Nicola would take over to show you the hit the target. So just in general, for the ones who are not familiar yet, short explanation on what we are doing. So we offer gamification without the expensive and often time-consuming process of agency work. So with our software, you can create games yourself and embed them in your marketing campaigns. That is the main idea, right? What sets us apart from competitors is that, this is what you see on the right side, consulting is a main part of our service. So we do not just sell a license and say, do your thing, which is possible, by the way, but we also consult a lot on what kind of, this is what I said in the beginning, what kind of game makes sense for what purpose, what is your goal, what are the KPIs you're focusing on, do you have any questions? Those are the things that we take care of during our partnership. So things that are part of this service are, for example, performance reviews, debriefings, workshops, so we can basically ensure that your campaigns are a success. If you don't need that kind of service, you are still able to do or create the games yourself and embed them, for example, on your website, in newsletters, on social media. So this works also without any help of our side. This just as a short introduction, but the most important thing is that we have the European Championship ahead of us. Very, very important and great event to use for yourself, for your company, for your goals. We have like some of interesting facts here that we brought. I can just go through them, which actually would emphasize why it is so important to engage in the upcoming 4 weeks event. So what we see is that during the European Championship, and we saw that in the past too, sales increase, right, in various sectors, especially in retail. So in particular, those associated with like different activities, especially leisure, but of course also entertainment and food, as the consumers are consuming way more, right? So the retail sales in Europe, and this is an interesting fact here, increased by around 3.3 billion euros during the 2016 European Football Championship. What comes with that is, of course, a big increase in online activity. So Statista says that in 2018, during the FIFA World Cup, the number of online streaming users increased by around 23%. And if we look at the current landscape of providers, we see that there are already different offers upcoming, which are basically, hey, buy this license for this time period and you only pay this instead of that. This is increasing more and more. And of course, we have growing marketing opportunities through social media, as the whole social media sector is also growing itself. So also during the 2018 FIFA World Cup, we got some interesting data from Sprout Social, which shows that the interaction with brands grew by around 60% in Europe compared to normal times, right? So what I have also been telling in the past when we had those webinars, and we have, for example, been focusing on things like the advent calendar, the Christmas season, yeah? And this is always called one of the most important seasons of the year. Then definitely this like big events like the upcoming European Championship in football is a big competitor to the numbers which the Christmas season can bring. Definitely something we could say, pretty sure. All of that show us that it makes sense to use those 4-week-long events to increase your company's visibility, right? So why should your brand have a digital presence at major events? Well, mainly people are consuming more. They are consuming more food, more social media, more TV. People are changing their location more often, right? Public viewing at different spots around the city, at different homes, for example. They're just moving more for 4 weeks because there are so many different occasions, which means so many games in this case, that people would like to attend, right? So the chance to get in contact with your target group is simply increasing massively. And in such an age that we have right now, where consumer attention is the most valuable commodity, such major event marketing campaigns offer just a great opportunity to capture the attention of your target group and turn it into brand loyalty, ideally. So why not just using standard ads, but instead using gamification, right? So, and this is nothing new, and this is most probably why you are here today. You know that the market and every smartphone is flooded with advertising and special offers at that time, right? So games bring in aspects that static ads just don't have. We have the challenge aspect, we have the social interaction. You can share, for example, your result. You have word of mouth. You have self-determination because you actually decide to participate in the game. Often you don't decide to look at a specific ad because it is just there and you don't really interact with it, right? With the game, you click on it, you have several page flows that you follow or you don't follow. It's your decision. And in the end, there most often, and this is what we recommend, of course, a reward is waiting for you. So big events create like natural moments of this shared attention and emotion that brands can use to, forge deeper emotionally connections with the audiences. And this engagement can be measured in interactions, shares, comments, especially on social media. And one of the most important things is on the right side to see, it is collect data, because you can collect data through our games. The classical KPIs like the click-through rate or the in-app interaction, for example, are being supplemented by new information like number of games started. So how attractive is it to play the game? The finishing rate, how good is the game and its content, so people are actually likely to finish it. Or something like lead conversion after finishing the game. So is it just the joy factor that the person likes, or is the incentive good enough and the content relevant enough for a person who finished the game to enter the personal data and actually give you their lead, right? Those are things where you as a brand, as a company, can learn a lot from, and also can learn, especially if you attack the right target groups, or if you should rethink that, for example. So all in all, we can say this big upcoming event is very important for you. You should use it. Nothing that comes every year, as we know. So definitely something that you can try to supplement with gamification during that time. And there is still enough time to do that. So we brought 2 use cases just to show you some examples. We have the one from Swisslos. For the ones who don't know, Swisslos is the Swiss lottery company. It was founded in 1937. And as most lottery companies, they are aiming for new lottery players, right? First time money players, basically. So throughout the FIFA World Cup 2022, they executed a newsletter campaign making people win game credits to participate in their lottery. Yeah. And the idea was to give away 10 Swiss francs per 1,000 times. So what we see here, we have, I guess, the picture game. The numbers are pretty good. We have a completion rate of 95%, which means 95% of people who started the game also finished it. Engagement time, pretty typical, but way higher than for static ads, is around like 82 seconds, which also has to do with how the game itself, the mechanic works. And we have a high conversion rate of 61%, showing that people who played the game and then gave their lead, in 61% of the cases also used the game credits. So definitely a successful campaign. I want to try to show you that. Yes, so it is in German now, but I can basically just explain what is written here. So we have the picture quiz for the World Cup 2 years ago. Just a short explanation what you can win. And the idea is then to click here and to decide which one, this is Murat Yakin, yes, which person it is or which symbol it is. This is Brazil. Then we have Fabian Scher. Oh, this is forward. Real Embolo was that, and we have, yes, now we see it, Vinicius Junior. So, depending on how I perform in the game, we get to have the lead form here. Just enter my data. There, my email address is already. Postcode and send. So now I get the result. It's showing me, okay, I got all of them right. I am ready for the World Cup. And now I need to check my mailbox. I will receive a message which will ask me for the double opt-in. So that was their case. The guess the picture game, definitely something that we can recommend for such an event like the Euro Cup, as we have a lot of players, a lot of teams, a lot of locations which you can use. So it makes definitely sense, and it's fun also to compare oneself, how quickly oneself did it compared to friends, for example. Another example that I brought today is from football club TSG Hoffenheim. So they are currently playing out brain games for their season ticket holders. And yeah, their idea is basically to give their most loyal fans something back and make them win, for example, jerseys or other merch. Most often they use like those quiz forms asking for past Hoffenheim events, for top goal scorers, or results of past games against the upcoming opponent. So I can also show you this one. We have, this is what I will tell you afterwards. Also some good numbers here. Very easy concept. We have the man of the match. Choose your man of the match and win the jersey of the man of the match, basically. So just one question, 4-person. We have to choose. I take Andrej Kramaric in this case. Can register again. There it is. Send it. And the man of the match will be actually told via social media, for example, after the game. And we will receive an email, or I would receive an email now with more information how the flow would be for me. And I would get informed if I won or I didn't win. So my definite recommendation for everyone of you who will be present on site during the European Championship, and you also see that here, use QR codes. If you are, for example, on public viewing events, or you have a special campaign ongoing in your shop, especially in retail, try to catch the people when passing by your location. And we also have seen that in the past, the best working way to do so is with QR codes. Yeah. Also here we have a big engagement time. We saw a good game completion rate. It's taken now from all the games, which means 25 to this point in time, every match day. So also something where you can make your audience engage frequently, right? But the most important things that you should consider when setting up such a campaign are the following. So, and this is really important. Of course, it always depends on the case, but those points here, those bullets, have been proven to work pretty well in many, many cases. So game before lead form. So the lead quality is higher if a game is placed before it. The person can win something and then wants to have that prize that he or she already won right now, right? So giving the data is more likely. If you want to collect double opt-ins, clever wording is key. Motivate users to take part in further gamified competitions via double opt-in confirmation. Just tell them, and this should be the truth then also, hey, if you played this game, you shouldn't miss the next game. You shouldn't miss the next campaign. Please accept the double opt-in or give us the double opt-in so you won't miss anything. Always place the price prominently so people know why they should play and why it makes sense to engage in the game, right? For pure conversion promotion, omit the lead form in the newsletter. Pretty simple. Place a high converter game with a generic code into your newsletter, and then make people just directly link after the game to, for example, your online shop. Yeah, this has been showing itself as a very effective way of pushing redemption rates and also increasing sales conversion. Of course, owned media channels push conversion. Newsletters, as said, the web and app banners are proven to be the most effective promo channels. What works pretty good, and many clients also do that every year with us during the advent calendars, give out a new prize every day. By having users play along like once per day, they want to return, and the return rate increases, right? So also the engagement time, the interaction time increases. And one more thing, also important, the gamification initiative, rather than increasing discounts, gamification with a 10% discount or 7% discount can have the same effect as 20% discounts with gamification. It depends on the game. It depends on the experience, how dynamic it is, how much fun it is. So the more discounts are not always the better solution, or higher discounts. There are also things you shouldn't think of doing. You shouldn't focus on several goals, on many different goals. The best way would it be to focus on one goal. Everything else is more of a bonus. So if you say you want to focus on lead conversion, that's totally fine. If you focus on sales uplift, just focus on that. Don't collect leads, for example. This is just important that you get yourself clear with what you want to achieve through the campaign, because everything at once won't be the best way to do it. Don't start the day before. The campaign should be well thought of. Good preparation definitely pays off. If you have any questions before launching such a campaign, always reach out to us, also especially to me, because then we can consult you on anything that might go wrong if you set it up this way, or what can be done better. So feel free to do that always. Don't go into the campaign, and this also is connected to point number 1, without clear KPIs or goals. Define your expectations before, so it's easier to measure the effect. And having comparisons with non-gamified campaigns also definitely makes the debriefing, the review, way more effective. If you decide to place games in your app, please use push notifications. Probably not a secret, but we have seen that it works pretty well. If you can, try to not give users a negative feeling after the game. So every user should either receive a consolation prize or at least be part of the main prize draw. You could, for example, say, hey, in 3 weeks, we are giving away this washing machine. If you participate in the game but you didn't win, hey, don't be sad. You didn't win the instant prize, but you are part of the main raffle. So people would still have a good feeling about the game afterwards, even if they didn't have the best performance. And of course, don't get lost in the details. It's most important to focus on the main goal, the main flow. With gamification, it's easy to get lost in very small things, in every little detail, in every little additional flow. But most importantly, you should focus on the main goal. That's all what I can give you today. Like, some do's, some don'ts. Whenever you have questions, of course, reach out, as said. I want to show you before let's have a look at the time. Yeah, like around 20 minutes. So still some 2 slides to go. We have, of course, some advanced games. Some of you do know them already, some probably not. We have the shell game, the dropper game, we have the slot machine, the priority puzzle, and the hit the target. What I can say is that the hit the target is currently something which clients think about quite often, and definitely want to use during the upcoming European Championship. But also the other games can make a lot of sense, right? Always depending on what your company is or which the industry your company is in. But of course, besides the advanced games, we also have the standard games, right? We have this different quiz forms. Swipe quiz, for example, here, swiping left or swiping right mechanism. We have the scratch card. Also, yeah, one of the games that we call high converters, same like this as the spin the wheel. Personality quiz, for example, what type of fan are you? Might be a question you could ask. And the classic memory game with 4 pairs. So those are all games that you could use throughout your upcoming summer campaigns. All right. That was it from my side for the moment. What we have now, as introduced in the beginning, is the product demo. Maybe Nicola, makes sense if I hand over to you now, right? Then I would just stop sharing. All right. I stop sharing.
Okay. You see my screen? Is everything loading?
Yes.
I think this should be it. All right, so good day, everyone. I'm Nicola, and I will be holding this demo for you now. As Felix already explained, we will be showcasing how to create a hit-the-target game that's been inspired by the upcoming championship. So to start with, I've already loaded the Brain dashboard, and I'm going to just start creating the campaign. Some of the assets here have already been prepared by my design team in order to save a bit of time. So let's get down to it. So right now, I'm just going to click on the button to start a new campaign and move on into the creation wizard. Once the creation wizard starts, you can see a wide array of different game designs that have been sorted by seasonality and different game types and so on and so forth. But right now, I'm just hoping to find one particular game, which is the penalty shot. So as you will see, each game comes with a set of recommendations. And for the time being, I believe that this one would be the best. So I'm going to start here, just name the campaign, test, and move on. At this stage, I can select between the pre-made themes. My team has already prepared a theme that would work perfectly for this situation, and it is football. Themes contain a series of different visuals, font styles, colors, button styles, and so on. So essentially, they're like a shortcut for rebranding the campaign quickly. So let's click continue. At this stage, I can select the campaign template. Templates basically include a number of pages and elements that your campaign will use. However, you will be able to change this, add new pages, elements, and so on. So I'm just going to click standard. Next, I will move on and start the creation of the campaign. As you can see, pretty fast you get to the editor window itself. On the left-hand side, you will immediately find the list of pages that constitute your campaign. And on the right-hand side, you will see the properties panel. By default, it is showing the themes. So let's get down to it and start customizing the actual content of the game. In Brain Studio Beta, you can enter and select any sort of element that you see on the screen and customize it either on the screen itself or using the options in the right sidebar. So you can see here we have some placeholder logos and placeholder text, and I will now proceed to customize a bit of it. For example, I can choose to resize this particular logo here. I would like to make it smaller. While you can use the sidebar and specify it very precisely, you can also just use your mouse cursor and drag to resize it to the proper size. You also have a number of different options to customize the images further. For example, you can customize the opacity, even add some nice effects such as borders or drop shadows. Right now, I would just like to leave it as it is. Next, I'm going to click on the heading. Here you have another set of options. For example, you can, of course, change the text, but also customize the typography, such as changing the fonts or changing the colors, alignment, or font sizes, and so on. Right now, I'm just going to paste a bit of text that my team has prepared and continue. I'm going to do the same with the body text that's been placed below. So just place this here. However, I would like to add an additional element to this page. This I can do from a different sidebar. Here you saw the pages, but now I'm going to switch to elements. Here we have an offer of different sorts of elements that can constitute your campaign. And right now I'm just going to add another image and place it right over here. By default, you get the placeholder image, but I'm just going to choose some other image to place into this area. I'm going to click Select Image and load the asset library. The asset library contains a number of assets that are both available for all the campaigns that you have. So basically, these are the assets that the design teams have created. You have access to the stock images library from Pexels. And finally, you have the library of images that have been uploaded for your campaign only, for your company only. So essentially, no other company will see these assets that we have here. I'm just going to select one of these images right now. And as you can see, the image has been uploaded immediately. Now, I'm not sure that I would like to have this image splitting up the text and the button, so I'm just going to move the button where I need it. To do this, I'm just going to select the button and drag it right above. As you can see, the button now is all set. If I want to customize the button further, I can do that as well. And for example, set its actions. By default, it's been set to just move me to the next page, but we can also have some additional options here. For example, a button can load an additional page or just open an external link. One thing that I would like to note is that we also support the option to create responsive designs, which means that your campaign is going to look and work nicely on both mobile, tablets, and desktop screens. So if you want to check out how it will look there, we can just move on and switch here to a tablet breakpoint. So as you can see, this image that I've added is a bit too big right now. So what I'm going to do is reduce its size. I will just click here and then drag to resize it once more to some smaller size. Now, the main thing here is that this override that I've made here, this resizing of the image, will only be applied for this screen size. So for mobile, the same size that I've set before is going to be still available. Now, this size, the new size, will also apply to anything that happens on the desktop view, unless I do the override as well. However, since I like the size for desktop as well, I'm not going to do any further overrides. So far, so good. So basically, I've edited the content of this page, did a bit of overrides, so I'm just going to move on and customize the following pages. As you can see from the sidebar, I can quickly move to another page. In this situation, this is going to be the game page. You saw that this game was something that I selected in the library, and now the time has come for me to simply customize the visuals and the game settings. To do this, I'm going to click on the game, and then I'm going to use the right sidebar to change some of the assets. The first settings, visuals, will actually let me do the exact same thing. So right now I can change the background, for instance. My team has already prepared some customized background, and I'm going to choose that instead. As you can see, this is a pretty good design to use because you can customize it and get some additional branding placed in behind. So let's continue changing the other assets. I can also change the design of the target. So I'm just going to use this one. And we can try it out immediately, as you can see. And in addition to this, I can also choose whether I want to resize this image slightly. So I've just made it a little bit bigger. Next, I'm just going to switch over and change the graphics for the ball itself. I would like to use this red one. And of course, as you can see, the ball has been updated immediately. Even here, you can try out the game, though the best way to do it is to use the preview mode. Right now, I'm not going to do that yet because I want to change the settings of the game itself. This can be done from the right sidebar again, and I can just get in here. Right now, as you can see, there are some parameters that we can set up. For this particular game, we have already configured here that we have a limited score. So for example, the player can win if they score 10 points. So if you hit 10 targets, you're going to win. In addition to this, there is a time limit. In this situation, that's only 20 seconds, and I'm just going to move this to 30 seconds instead. Based on the game that you select, this settings panel will look a bit differently. So different game types might offer different configurations that will let you affect the difficulty or the game logic. In this particular scenario, we only have a tense number, score and time, as well as some speed settings that are going to affect how easy or difficult the game is. All right, so right now I'm happy with how everything works, and I'm going to proceed to the final and probably the most important part, and that is setting the outcomes. Outcomes are pages that occur as a result of the user actions during the game. So once I click here, you will immediately see that there are two outcomes that have been pre-configured. One outcome will appear if you hit the winning conditions, which means that you've scored 10 points within the allotted time, and the lose outcome will happen if you do not make it, if you score less than 10 points. So I'm going to click on the first one and see if everything can be customized. As you can see, there is this logical condition. So yes, the score needs to be more or equal to 10 points. And if this is the case, then we need to perform the following actions, as you can see here. So the first action that's going to be performed is to go to a particular outcome page. Here, I'm going to change the settings to win outcome page. In addition to this, I would like to send an email to the winners. I'm going to click here and set it to the outcome email page. This means that any person who gets 10 or more points will reach the win page and get the outcome email page. I'm going to save this. For the lose outcome, I'm going to just configure the other page. So if the score is less than 10 points, I will go to the lose page. I'm not going to send any emails. That would be pretty much it. The game is now configured and it's going to have a logic that is pretty much set. There are a couple of screens that I also want to correct, and the next screen that I would like to do that on is the lead page. As you can see on the lead page, you have the typical components that would be found in most campaigns. The most important of which, of course, is the lead form itself. In our product, you are able to customize this lead form to a great extent. By default, you have some of these input fields, but you can choose from this dropdown a number of different types, including date pickers, such as the date of birth, job titles, company titles, and so on and so forth. You can also pick some of the checkboxes. So, for example, maybe you do not want to collect marketing leads, so you can turn that off. What you can also do here is add a custom field. So for example, if you have something, some special information, such as a unique customer ID, you can add a custom field and define it in here. Right now, I'm not going to do that, so I'm just going to delete this field. You can do it pretty easily by clicking on the bin icon. You can also customize some of the other elements within the form, for example, the actual labels, or even making some fields mandatory. so they get a little star next to the label. So in addition to this, you can also customize the visuals of the form field, for example, changing the alignment, the fonts, and the design of the input field itself. There are many options for customization here, but I'm not going to get into much detail to save some time. As I'm happy with the lead form, I'm going to proceed to the outcome pages. As I already mentioned, the outcome pages appear when you reach a particular goal. So this, as you can see, is that win page. And this would probably be the perfect place to list out the prize. This image could probably be replaced with another one that's showcasing the prize that the person has won. And this, in our experience, is also proven to be an excellent place to position a CTA button, for example, to lead the players to your web shop. This position is also excellent to place different social media buttons or any other actions that you would expect the user to perform. Our software also supports advanced functionalities that are also associated with the outcome page. So for instance, you can go to elements and place a prize management module. So in this situation, I'm going to place this one. And as you can see, this is what gives you the option to import your own barcodes and essentially have unique prizes and prize pools. For the time being, I'm just going to remove this. We saw the win page. Now we can do modifications to the lose page. And in this situation, many of our clients choose to add a button that's just going to restart the game and give their users another shot. For the time being, I'm not going to change that. We also offer a number of different page types that are more like service pages. So in these situations, we have a terms and conditions page or a privacy policy page. We also have the additional pages that can appear when the campaign is not live yet or when it's been ended. In these situations, I didn't configure anything, but you can choose to add text or logos on your own. Finally, a very important page that's going to appear here is the outcome email page. In this situation, you can add a number of different items to your email. So for example, you can add a heading or customize the text that you have here. You can customize the subject and even add email attachments. So for example, if you have a prize voucher set in PDF, of course, instead of starting from scratch, you can also use one of the templates that appear here in the sidebar. For the time being, I'm just going to skip this part, but yeah, this is pretty much it. Now that I've configured everything, I can click on the preview button and make sure that everything happens the way I expected. The preview mode is what actually lets you try out the game. So for example, if you now click on this button, it is actually going to start the game. So right now, as you can see, I can play the game and try out whether the logic that I've configured is working as expected. So my score, my desired score was 10 points, and I'm just going to get those points. As you can see, I scored 10 points and reached the winning page. So that's pretty much it. I'm happy with the flow. Everything's all set. And now I can move on and publish the campaign. You see a big button in the top right corner. Just click on it and we can continue the process. Right now, I can choose whether I want to collect analytics, which means that you can get a pretty solid insight of what your players were doing. And I also have the option of collecting precise geolocation, but you should use this option sparingly and wisely because the browser is going to ask you for additional permissions. Now we can continue and choose how many times the player can register. And for me, I would like to enable my players to play the game using the same email twice a day. So this is how I'm going to configure it. Finally, I'm going to choose when the campaign will go live. Here, I can either choose to make it go live immediately or postpone its start by clicking here. I just want to start it immediately, and I'm fine with the campaign ending in a couple of months. So finally, I'm going to click continue, check out the overview, make sure that everything has been configured properly, and then finally click on publish. Now we just need to take a bit of time and the campaign is going to be ready. Now I've received a link, and this is the link that I'm going to embed in a website, an app, or any other place where the player can access the game. So thank you. This is pretty much it when it comes to the demo. I think that Felix can take over now.
Thank you very much, Nicolas. I think that was the whole flow. I see we already have questions, also longer questions actually. As we are a bit over time, I hope that still works for you. We have question number 1. Is it possible to remember the user's first gaming session in the game, despite the fact that he did not indicate the data? Ask him to register in the application or on the website and then remember the first session. If yes, how does it work? First thing would be, of course, you would need some kind of integration here. So if the person should not register in the game, but the data should somehow be autofilled, we would need some kind of a secure user ID handover, most probably, so we can work with that without registering, right? Second thing I see here is a mobile application that you have, and you want to make a match 3 game with 10 levels. The 2 game types that we offer at the moment are the memory, right, where we have the matching type of thing as a part of it, and we have the Prio puzzle. Match 3 game with 10 levels. Yeah, I would say the Prio puzzle could make most sense, right? It's just a longer text, so I think, yeah, Nicola? Or, oh no, are the microphones open or they are not, right? At the moment?
No.
Okay. Is it possible to make it so that after level 1, the user is asked to register on my website, and when he creates an account on the site, give him level 2, remembering the result in 1? That's a good question. That's something that I'm not technically educated enough at the moment to give a precise answer to that. My question would be, but this is also something that we can maybe clarify in more detail afterwards via email, for example, or in a short call. What's the purpose, right? What is the incentive for the person to register, to play the game, and then also to register in your application? Definitely something we should talk about. Question number 2, of course, we can share the presentation. No worries. Question number 3, what are the most popular games? What games would you suggest for Euro 2024 and why? I mean, in general, what we can say, quiz forums are the games that are used most often. Last time we checked, it was around like 61% of all the games created. Of course, what we see now is that games connected to football, to soccer, are growing in numbers. Like the Hit the Target game, for example, that Nicola just showed, is definitely growing. The interest is growing. So as it also depends what you want to achieve with the game, right? What's your goal? Is it about lead collection? Is it just about engagement, just to have a dynamic experience with your brand, or something else, right? So of course, the Euro 2024 gives a lot of food for thought when it comes to quiz forms, for example, as you have so many different countries, teams, players, locations. past events, which you can ask people for. I see there is one add-on here, more attention, motivate to some actions in my app. Okay, yeah, good point, good point. But what I would suggest is that we definitely hop on a call for such questions. Also, Nicola can maybe be part of that call, not only me. So we can dive into that case more deeply, because of course we also don't want to keep people from their well-deserved lunch break. So feel free. My email address, and this is something I want to just send you right away. You find here, felix.huber@brame.io. And then we can just have a short call about that. Yeah, maybe that makes sense, and we can cover every aspect, if that is okay for you. Okay, all right. Makes sense. Then, if there are no more questions, then I would say thank you very much for participating. Thank you, Nicola, for the demo. And as said, if there are any more questions, feel free to contact me via the email address. Have a good lunch break. See you soon and take care. Bye, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.